Today, I'll be delving deep into the enigma that is Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. I'm going to explain why I believe he isn't really the villain, but a misunderstood hero. The reason for this...
Hold it right there. Gaston has done a multitude of awful things. If you truly believe Gaston is a hero, then I'd like to see you defend him. Allow me to play devil's advocate to your little theory.
Be my guest. I like a challenge. Now let's dive in and analyse the one and only Gaston. For starters, Gaston is handsome, strong and charismatic, a far stride from the usual Disney villain to say the least. But not only is he charming to look at, he is adored by the villagers and considered the people's choice. This indicates that he must treat the villagers with respect, otherwise they would have no reason to adore him so. Also, despite being a hunter, Gaston is extremely passive and non-violent towards Belle. Despite his macho image, Gaston never physically harms Belle. Contrast to Beast's aggressive behaviour towards her, it's clear that he's not the bad guy.
But how about Gaston's first interaction with Belle? He is clearly very rude in this scene and doesn't support her reading.
While I agree that his methods could use a little work, in reality he's trying to do Belle a favour. He's worried about what the other villagers are saying about her and wants to help her look better in the public opinion. On another note, in this scene, you can see Gaston doesn't use his size or strength to push past these villagers who block his path. Instead of pushing past the crowd, something he could easily do for that matter, he takes the roof instead. What other villains do you know who are too kind to push through a crowd?
What about when Gaston laughs and makes fun of Belle in this next scene?
Gaston's friend makes a rude remark about Bella's dad, and Gaston does laugh at first, but he immediately corrects his mistake and then sticks up for her instead. This shows a human side to him. He might make mistakes, but at least he attempts to correct them.
What about when Gaston proposes to Belle? He is extremely pushy and not very gentlemanlike. It's clear Belle isn't interested.
He believes that every girl in town would love to be in Belle's shoes. He even says it.
There's not a girl in town who wouldn't love to be in your shoes.
So he thinks she will be ecstatic to marry him. Also, the fact that he wants to settle down and marry Belle, despite every girl in the village lusting over him, means he isn't a player. He is a family man, and that's something to be admired.
But look how Gaston is acting. Belle is clearly uncomfortable in this scene.
I agree, this scene can be a little uncomfortable, as it is clear Gaston is coming on way too strong. But as I said earlier, he believes this is what Belle wants. This doesn't excuse his behaviour completely, but it at least explains why he's acting that way. Gaston then falls in the lake and gets angry. But let's be honest, he's only human. He expected to be engaged to the girl of his dreams today, but instead ended up in a pool of mud. Wouldn't anyone be angry in this situation? Gaston is then utterly heartbroken by Belle's rejection. It's clear the townspeople aren't used to seeing him so upset. They sing a song about him, saying there is no one in town more admired and that he's everyone's favourite guy. This proves even further that he is a man of the people.
But what about how Gaston treats his so-called friends, Le Fou? He abuses him multiple times. A good person wouldn't do that.
Look, you are correct. Gaston is seen often hitting or hurting this guy, and that's definitely not something to be admired. However, it's clear Gaston cares for the little guy and has taken him under his wing and is trying to toughen him up so he is stronger like Gaston. This might look cruel from an outside perspective, but I believe Gaston thinks he is doing him a favour by making him hardened, thinking it'll earn him more respect. What's important to remember about Gaston is, unlike real villains, he doesn't act malicious on purpose. There are many examples of this. He is simply a misguided hero. Gaston also agrees to help save Belle from the Beast as soon as he hears about it. He doesn't hesitate, and that's very heroic of him.
Okay, stop right there. This next scene is impossible to defend. Gaston cooks up a plan to lock Belle's father up in an asylum. Unless she agrees to marry him, that is pure evil.
This is pretty bad. But if I must attempt to defend this, he's still extremely heartbroken, and he's probably not acting very rational. Everyone knows the old saying, love makes you do crazy things. For example, Aladdin lied to Jasmine over love, but he isn't seen as a villain.
Yes, but it doesn't stop there. Gaston locks Belle and her father away when they clearly don't want to be there. This is illegal, immoral, and downright villainous.
The reason he does this is for their protection. He is planning to kill the beast because he assumes it is a monster. He knows there is going to be a battle and it's dangerous for women and old men to be around. He also knows if he didn't lock them away, Bella would go and warn the beast. He even says this.
We can't have them running off to warn the creature!
So he knows it's better to lock them away for the time being in order to get the job done and keep everyone safe. Remember, he thinks the beast is dangerous after all. Now let's enter the final, the beast versus Gaston, the scene I'm sure a lot of you have been waiting for.
Let's take a look. Gaston attacks the beast even when he doesn't fight back. It's clear he isn't a threat at this point. If Gaston was truly a hero, he would notice this and reconsider his attack.
Well, for starters, you are correct. However, the beast does eventually start fighting back, and as soon as that happens, Gaston is defending himself and he's probably afraid to put his guard down. Who wouldn't be afraid and defensive when a literal beast's coming at them?
Hold on a second. We can't ignore the fact that Gaston attacks the beast from behind and even tried to kill him in a dishonorable way. It's not something a hero would do. This is low, even for Gaston.
Fair point, K-Cat. I won't defend that action. It was wrong. But guess what? Gaston paid the ultimate price for it. Death. But let's not let one action define someone entirely. People make mistakes and Gaston faced the consequences.
But attacking someone from behind is a cowardly move. Can we really consider Gaston a hero after that?
You're right, it was a cowardly move, and I'm not excusing it. However, we need to look at the bigger picture. Despite Gaston's flaws, let's not forget the positive aspects of his character. Besides, if we are going to focus on Gaston's biggest flaws, it's only fair that we analyse the beast in the same way. Firstly, Bella definitely had Stockholm Syndrome. That was caused because of the beast. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a psychological condition of a victim who identifies and empathizes with their captor or abuser. Thus, Belle falling for her capture the beast. The beast is also extremely violent, even his so-called friends acknowledge his violent outbursts. And these anger issues can't be excused, because why is the beast allowed to have flaws if Gaston isn't? The beast is meant to be the so-called hero, is he not? While Gaston's actions may not be perfect, comparing them to the beast's kidnapping and abusive behaviour, I'd argue that Gaston's actions were more heroic. Gaston attempted to rescue Bella from the beast, risking his life to save her. He railed the entire village, unexpected for a so-called villain, showing his influence as a natural leader. So is Gaston a villain? I think definitely not. A bit rude and a little forward at times. His ego might even need some checking for good measure. But all in all, Gaston is much more of a misunderstood hero, someone who tries to do the right thing. He just gets a little confused about what that is sometimes. But what do you think? Do you agree with me?
Or do you agree with me and think Gaston's actions can't be defended?
Either way, we would both love to read what you think in the comments. And as always, I hope you found this video enjoyable to watch. If you did, leave a like and check out our other Disney villain videos if that's something you were interested in. As for now though, don't forget to stay critical, and that's the end of the show.